Hey guys, this is Matt from livetoproduce.co.uk. Today I'll be demonstrating a couple of classic mixing tricks to really bring out the best in your kick drums. And for this demonstration I'll be using both an acoustic kick drum sample and an electronic kick drum sample. So whether you're producing rock music or dance music, this tutorial should have something to offer. Now, the first trick I'm going to show you is called the Low End Trick, or the Pultec Low End Trick. And for this you will need a Pultec style EQ. Now, very few of us are lucky enough to have a real Pultec, but there are many emulations available in plug-in format. For example, for this demonstration I'll be using the Tubetech P1C. There's also the Universal Audio EQ P1A, officially branded plugin, and there's also the Waves Pultec and several others that I can't remember the name of at the moment. So it's, in terms of emulations, there are many options. Most will get you a very similar sound and they'll get you in the ballpark for this demonstration. So I'm going to just talk you through the nature of the plugin first of all. It has a very distinct feature, which is that for the low end and the high end, you can boost and attenuate in the same frequency area. The thing is, it's not exactly the same frequency area. The attenuation is a slightly higher frequency than the boost area. So this, the result of this is by boosting and attenuating by the same amount, you create a boost in the low and then a slight dip as the frequency rises. And it creates a very unique contour, and the sound is very distinct to the Pultec EQ. In this instance, you'll see that we are boosting by 10 and we're attenuating by 10 too, which creates this low end trick. But and we have the low end frequency set to 30 Hertz. So I'm now going to play you the sample without the low end trick, and you can hear the original sample. Okay, so it's okay, but it's not great, and it's slightly lacking in the low end. There just isn't the roundness we're looking for. So hopefully the low end trick will introduce that. Before I apply the plugin, I'm going to give 10 decibels of gain reduction using the Synuxis 3G stereo. So you'll see that there's it's minus 10 there. That's just to give the plugin some headroom, because these are samples from a sample CD and they're nearly at 0 decibel full scale. So by dipping the gain, we just give the EQ a little more headroom to work with, which I just think helps the sound. So this is the sound once again without the EQ. And oh, by the way, we have the Waves Ultra Maximizer here, just engaged, just to catch any slight transients that might go above and clip. And we don't want our speakers being damaged or unpleasant noises coming out of our sound cards unless we intend to make them. So there you go. Right, so this is without the low end, and this is with it on. And hopefully you're listening on some good quality headphones or good quality stereo, so you can hear the difference. But just generally, is the low end is rounder, fatter, and it's just far punchier. So that is the low end trick applied to an acoustic kick drum. Now let's listen to it applied to an electronic kick drum. Okay, once again, let's listen to it before we put any plugins on. Oh, that's a pretty good kick, and most people will listen to it and think that's fine, no need to EQ it, no need to compress. But I think we can make it even better. So once again, let's apply the gain to bring it down and the L2, and let's apply the low end trick. Now, in this instance, you will see we have the same thing, boosted at 10, attenuated at 10. I have the low frequency set a little higher at 60. The reason for that is that it sounded better there. Always trust your ears rather than your eyes, and just play around until things sound as good as they can possibly sound. So in the acoustic section, I found setting it at 30 gave the best sound with the electronic kick drum here. I found setting at 60 gave the best sound, and even at 100 here, it still sounded really good. So it's very much a matter of personal taste, really. So anyway, let's hear it again without the Tubetech. Okay, this is without the low end trick, and let's hear it with the low end trick. I mean, that gives a huge boost to the low end. To me, that sounds great. That's really the low end trick in full effect there. Okay, so now we've heard the acoustic sample and the electronic sample with the low end trick applied. What's this, the second trick I'm going to teach you? Well, it's called the DBX 160 Smack. Now, the DBX 160 is a particular compressor that a lot of engineers used. It was built in the 1970s, and it's been used for many years, and it gives a very distinctive crack to a sound if the settings are set right. It doesn't have conventional attack and release like many compressors you're used to, but it has this distinctive sound, and it became very popular. A lot of engineers used it on kick drums and snare drums, and it just gives a crack, a punch that very few compressors can actually match it in that respect. Now, I don't have a real one, but I do have a plugin called the Major Tom by Stillwell, which is actually very cheap. It's about $40, and it gets you in the ballpark in terms of the sound. I'm sure many people will say it's not like the real hardware, but to me, it does the job. So I'm going to now play the acoustic kick drum. Now, this is with the low end trick already applied, and we're now going to listen to the original with just the low end trick, and then we're going to listen to it after we put the DBX 160 smack effect on it too, and then I'll show you the settings for that. So this is without the smack, and this is with the smack. Now, to me, it just sounds like there's a little more of a click, a little more of a punch. It just sort of, I could just know instinctively that it would cut through a mix far easier with that. And if you look at the settings, we're getting around 6 decibels of gain reduction, and I'm boosting at the same time. In terms of settings, we have feed forward setting enabled, and in terms of sound, that definitely affects it. I won't go into the difference between feedback and feed forward because that is a tutorial in itself, and it's rather complicated, but that's the setting I have. So you could copy these settings and get a similar kind of sound here. So that is the DBX 160 smack and the low end trick in this kick drum, and let's hear the difference. So this is completely dry with no low end trick and no DBX 160 smack, and this is with both enabled. Just like rounder, punchier, not quite as much high end, but it definitely carries a lot more weight now. Okay, so let's listen finally to the electronic kick drum with the low end kick first, just with the low end kick. Okay, that's pretty huge. Now let's try with the Major Tom DBX 160 smack enabled. Pretty much same settings. I think the only difference, I have peak detection enabled here, which just makes it slightly more aggressive. You did that particularly because it's an electronic kick drum sample, and the same thing, feed forward detection enabled. Feed forward just makes it react slightly more precisely. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but you can definitely hear a difference in terms of sound. So this is without the 160. This is with. You hear the added click and just generally more punch. If it doesn't sound like it could get any punchier, and then you put on the DBX 160 smack, suddenly you're there in terms of sound. It's a big difference. So let's listen with none of the plugins applied. It's a huge kick, but just the low end roundness is just not there. Let's put both of the low end trick and the DBX 160 smack on, and that's a floor shaking kick drum. Okay, so I have shown you the low end trick and the DBX 160 smack as applied to an acoustic kick drum and an electronics kick drum. And I think we are done for this lesson. If you have any other questions, if I failed to mention anything, just post in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can, and maybe even post an update video with a few extra hints and tips. Keep an eye out for more tutorials coming in the future, and check out www.livetoproduce.co.uk.